Red man got red blue. After work, I go home. Make myself a drink. Grab a glass, a few ice cubes. Walk on over to the sink. My old lady says that I ought not to. You'll get sick if you drink that water red blue.
Sego, this is John Kane, and I welcome you to Let's Talk Native. Tonight I am happy to present a special 2-hour program as a tribute to my good friend and a young man who was like a brother to me, Sugar Aguirreando Montour. I've known Sugar since he was a teenager, and I've worked closely with him for over 20 years. We've stood side by side as we've fought the state and the federal government. We've stood side by side as we've confronted some of the contradictions from some of our own people. And we've worked together in developing business and a business environment for our people to thrive. Sugar was a supporter of this program right from the beginning. And not only did he support the program when we were in dire need of funding for paid programming, but he participated in the show. And he was a frequent guest, joining me for a period of time almost every week. And among those shows, we have a library of recordings. And tonight, I want to feature one of those recordings. This program is from May of 2012 and features Sugar and Murray Porter. Murray is playing live in studio on the heels of winning a Juno Award for Album of the Year for his CD, Songs Live and Life Played. I hope you'll enjoy the special 2-hour broadcast and know that to do this show for 8 years has taken support from people like Sugar Montour. We lost Sugar last week. At the age of 45, he perished in an accident, and I was privileged to be among those who carried him to his final resting place at his funeral yesterday. As I said, this show is a tribute to Sugar, and from time to time, perhaps we'll feature some of the recordings of Sugar in studio and some of the really important topics that we talked about over the years. But for this program, enjoy it. Enjoy the music. Enjoy the conversation. And let me also announce that LTN will air, for the remainder of the month, will air from 10 to 11 p.m. rather than our 9 to 10 slot. And we'll do that for the remainder of the month and then probably resume back to our regular schedule after that. Again, I thank you for listening to Let's Talk Native over the years, and I hope that you enjoy this chance to listen to a show from several years ago. Nyawe.
From the western door to the eastern door and beyond, welcome to Let's Talk Native with John Kane. John addresses the issues of Native people, their communities, and struggle to maintain distinction and autonomy. Call 716-803-1520 to join the discussion. Now, here's your host, John Kane.
All right, this is John Kane, and this is Let's Talk Native. Hey, I'm glad you're with me this week. This is kind of a departure for us. We usually just talk about real serious stuff here, and
well, we're also glad you can hear us.
Yeah, apparently KB had some transmission problems, and luckily the show before us prayed that we would be back online,
and
we
are. Tom, our engineer, for
going
out to the transmitter to fix everything. So thanks to Tom for a yeoman's job.
All right, Tom.
Who got up on his Sunday night off to go fix the transmitter.
All right. So transmission's good, but we got a special guest. We've got Murray Porter. For those of you who've checked out my Facebook page, you know he's here. We got Murray Porter in studio. We're actually going to have him perform a little bit. And of course, you know, this is a pretty hard-hitting show. We tackle the tough issues. We probably say things that people think but don't normally say. Part of what we want to do is encourage a conversation, and if somebody doesn't take the hard position on some of these issues, then there's really not much to talk about. So that's what we do here. I have Sugar Montour, who joins me pretty much on a weekly basis. He does a little bit of a cultural piece usually at the end. But he obviously we talk about whatever the current issues are. I've also got Ed Schindler joining us again this week, and Ed is a guy who he teaches a class 2 days a week. he calls it a class, but it's as much of an opportunity to have a discussion and a conversation. It's a class in a native sense, but not in what you would consider, I guess the American version of what you would call a classroom. But Ed Schindler, again, he joins us this week. He does.
It's certainly not boarding room style. Or,
You get to go home and you don't need a pass, and you don't need to get a vaginal
they don't cut your hair.
Yeah, they don't cut your hair, and you don't have to get a pelvic exam when you come back the next week. Okay, so Ed, you do your class on Mondays and Thursdays, and they're usually at the Sailor Building on the Cattaraugus territory of the Seneca Nation. Again, Ed joins us. Ed, your comments last week on the UN got some specific comments on my Facebook site, so I appreciate. Obviously, I'm not the only one who appreciates some of what you contributed last week, so I'm glad to have you. A couple of things. Obviously, it's Mother's Day. I cannot, because it just so happens that I have had a mother. She's not with me anymore, but I did have a mother, and so I need to acknowledge her. But also, I am married to a mother. My wife and I, we've had 3 kids. We've raised them somewhat successfully. 2 of those children are mothers themselves. So I've got a lot of mothers around me. So I need to acknowledge. I need to not only wish them a happy day, but I think mothers need to be acknowledged in general. And in fact, later on in the program, we're going to have Murray Porter sing one of his, what's rapidly becoming a classic. It's a song that he did in honor of his own mother, and we're going to have him perform that. Hopefully, we don't lose any transmission. But if we do, this show is still going to go live to tape, and it will be on my blog.
And poor Tom will have to go back to the transmitter.
Yeah, and we may have to chain him to that thing. So, but anyway, so I do have to acknowledge, part of where Sugar had gone over the last couple of weeks, actually, especially with Paul Delarone in last week. We talked about again. I don't want to do the name wrong. It's Gajunsase. Yeah, we got to get that last syllable in there.
Jagunsase.
She, her part of the story of the peacemaker, the Ganawida, it really introduces the role and the importance and the significance, almost in a special way, of women to the story. And it's not like, when people have investigated the role that women have played, even with Haiwenta, the Ganawida, it's there. But her role specifically kind of starts to point to the significance. And, of course, on Mother's Day, I think we still need to continue to do an emphasis on the role of women. But there's a few other things that that also need to be brought up. Part of what brought Murray to town this weekend was he originally was coming to do a customer appreciation event at Gale Smoke Shop in Tuscarora, but that whole event got clouded by the death of a young man there in Tuscarora.
Yeah, Gail had informed me on Saturday. She called and said, I don't think it's going to be appropriate to have Murray, perform. We'd be glad to have him another time. He said, but a young man who actually, Gail and her partners. I'm actually going to have a hard time with this, John, because I knew the kid really well. Anyway, the young boy took his own life, and just a young man, a teenager.
Well, and obviously this is an issue in our communities, and it's an issue other places as well. But where this kind of goes, and Ed, you and I, we've talked about this in your classes. One of the things that happens, the first thing that happens when somebody takes their life is all of those who were either close to him or knew him, or and family in particular, begins to ask themselves what they should have done. Could they have done something? What did they miss? And that kind of stuff. And that subject comes up then. It doesn't necessarily come up prior to an event like this, or prior to, whether it's, and there's a lot other tragedies that happen in our territories. But I guess where I'm going with this, I've often heard it said in the day that we live in today, that we can't tell people how to live their lives. So we get that thrown at us. And yet that's not the way our culture is. Our culture says that we are a community. We are, and it takes a community to raise a child. It takes a community to support a family. It takes a community to support a marriage. It takes a community to do all of these things. But we've bought into this the sense of a nuclear family to such an extent that we think what happens within the confines or the walls of our home, our house, not even our home, our house, that somehow that nobody else should be involved in that. And at some point. And we've talked about this even with the wedding ceremony. Mm-hmm. When you stand up a couple, you stand them up in front of an entire community. And that entire community takes responsibility for that couple. Yeah, we're placing responsibility on that couple as well. But we as a community, we're supposed to be taking responsibility for them. So
the community is supposed to, they see the couple, they say this is the man, this is the woman, they are now married, they are now a couple. And for the community to support them, to help them if they're having issues, even with their household, to give them advice, and also not to work to tear them apart. Part of Guyana de Goa is very clear that it's a violation of Guyana de Goa to partake in gossip and rumors and idle talk, and in a lot of families we see now, everybody's on this Facebook, and you see a lot of BS on there about people, and then they say one thing and then take it off 20 minutes later because they're full of shit in the first place.
But there's the thing is where we've got to be the thing is that we've got to be cognizant of is that when I look at the issues that are major issues, not just in our communities, but when we talk about violence against women, bullying, child abuse, suicide, those are 4 major issues. How would all 4 of those not be affected if there were stronger community involvement with each other? I mean, how would we not, as a community, be able to address bullying if we weren't just saying, "Oh, that's just a bad kid"? Because it's not just a bad kid, and it's not just a bad parent. It's not just 2 bad parents. We need to do more of this stuff because this is the kind of thing that solves some of the major. I mean, I just named 4, but if I really wanted to spend some time thinking about it, there are a lot more social ills that would be solved if we as a community stepped up.
Well, the cyclical nature, I guess, of humans in general, and Native people, obviously, our life and our culture is, consider it a circle, and things are cyclical in our territories, and all these things you talk about, the bad cycle of the negative things in our communities. You have, and not to just go on to one issue, on the one tragedy, but the young man who took his life, he took his life very near the anniversary of his father taking his own life, when the boy, I believe, was just a young man. He wasn't even a teenager yet, I believe, and so we get into this. We mimic each other in many ways. And unfortunately for the epidemic of suicide, it seems like once it hits a community, you see a number of them happen, all in a row, sometimes within days of each other. We've had instances where a day after one funeral, a friend of the young child,
even in the absence of what they call these pacts and that kind of stuff. No, there is a tendency for some of that stuff to almost reach at least in a small way, a bit of an epidemic. But and again, I can't emphasize enough how important I think it is that we do more as a community. And even things like drugs and alcohol. If we weren't so afraid, okay, we're going to step on somebody's toes, everybody's got to live their own life. There's still a certain amount of community pressure. There's a certain amount of, as uncles and aunts, that's what they talk about that within the clan system, that responsibility that we have to our nieces and nephews. And again, I'm not blaming anybody specifically for tragedies. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that as a culture, and it weaves in and out of the story of the Guyana de Goa. It weaves in, even in the Code of Handsome Lake, it weaves in that, Ed. And I don't know, go, if you got something to add to that, go ahead.
What I wanted to emphasize to the people is that It has been emphasized to us, it has been taught to us that we don't learn well and we don't know much. I've gone through school systems that have tried to convince me of that. But one thing to realize is that we do learn. And all of the different things that we've done throughout our lives, whether good or bad, whatever you want to consider them, you've learned them. So what happens in terms of these, whether it's suicide, whether it's alcohol or substance abuse, whatever it is, could be just violence. That's a learned behavior. It's not one that we're with. And what I'd like people to understand is that we're all capable of learning, and that we should pay more attention to what it is that we're learning, and therefore have our own choice to pursue what would be positive for especially the community and for the coming generations.
Well, and we talk about, raising awareness and, and suicide prevention and that kind of stuff. But it's like you were saying on the drive in here, Ed, that alcoholism, drug abuse, and those aren't the only thing. But a lot of these tragedies, they are not the problem. They are the symptoms of an underlying problem. And by addressing community issues at a more grassroots level, we can get to address these things before the symptoms start to present themselves. Look, it's 15:15. We're going to take a break. We're going to start to set up and bring Murray in for the second segment, and hopefully we'll keep him for most of the 2 hours here, and because we're going to talk about a lot of the issues, not just about his songs, but a lot of his songs have social context to them, and we're gonna hit them all. So
I think that's what really makes people proud in Indian country when we heard of Murray. Winning the award for Album of the Year. His albums are not only great blues music.
And what award was that again?
Album of the Year.
Okay, but what award was it?
The Juno Award.
The Juno, okay.
The Juno Award, for those who don't know, is the equivalent to the Grammys in Canada. But what really made us proud, all Native people, is his songs are not only about music and not only about the dancing and the rhythm, but they have messages in there, and the messages are sometimes like our show here. Sometimes they're hard hitting messages, and he doesn't hold back, tells the truth, and he's
and they're about us,
and they're about Native people, and yet they're he's found a way to get his message across in his way, and I just want to congratulate him again on that.
And again, so we got Murray Porter. He is the red man singing the black man's blues in a white man's world. And yes, I stole that from him. All right, we're gonna take a break. This is John Kane with Sugar Bond Tour, Ed Schindler, and Murray Porter, and this is Let's Talk Native. We'll be right back.
Looking for Western New York's best prices on tobacco products and a whole lot more? Then head straight for Mikey's Emporium on Route 20 in Irving. Come check out their custom glass, including chameleon glass, PHX Zong products, and a variety of smoking accessories, detoxification lines, and more. Mikey's Emporium still has the best deals and the widest selection of all your favorite tobacco goods. At Mikey's Emporium, you'll also save money on their huge selection of smoking accessories. Ask about their smokeless line. Starter kits for smokeless lines begin at just $35. They also have a great selection of cigar wraps, rolling papers, and so much more. You'll find everything you're looking for and save a bundle at Mikey's Emporium, just 5 minutes from exit 58 on Route 20 in Irving. Open 7 days a week from 7 till 11. Be sure to like Mikey's Emporium on Facebook to find out about upcoming events. To learn more, call 549-7888 or go online at mikeysemporium.com. You don't need to go far to get away. A great escape awaits you nearby on the beautiful Allegheny territory of the Seneca Nation at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Salamanca, New York. There's lots to do while you stay. You can take a trip to the Amish Trail. You can head to the casino on one of the shuttles that runs 24/7. You can relax and unwind in the Whirlpool or take a swim in the indoor pool or grab your Gal Pals for Gal Pals Weekend at the Holiday Inn Express. Well, you'll spend a fun-filled evening at the Seneca Allegheny Casino, then shuttle your way back, have some margaritas, and laugh the night away. See what the beautiful Allegheny territory of the Seneca Nation has to offer, all for great rates and tax exempt. So remember, you don't need to go far to get away. Stay and play at the Holiday Inn and Suites in Salamanca, New York on the Allegheny territory of the Seneca Nation. For more information or room availability, call 716-945-7600. That's 716-945-7600. Hi, this is Sandy Beach. Buffalo has long been known as a city of good neighbors, and your friends at Roswell Park Cancer Institute are urging you to lend a hand and come to the aid of Western New Yorkers in need. By donating blood and platelets to Roswell Park Cancer Institute, you're aiding the community, making a real difference in the lives of cancer patients who need your contributions to continue their fight against this terrible disease. You'll find that donating blood and platelets at Roswell Park is easy, convenient, takes very little time, but the rewards are countless. Your effort can help a fellow Western New Yorker get back to their life and their loved ones. Become one of Roswell Park's special blood or platelet donors. Call the Donor Center today at 845-8275. That's 845-8275. Or go online at roswellpark.org/donor center. Your donation today could save a life tomorrow. Let's Talk Native with John Kane is the only native radio talk show in Western New York and may actually be the only radio show of its kind anywhere. Shows can be heard live here each Sunday night on KB 1520's Powerhouse 50,000-watt signal and online. A live web stream and archive shows can be accessed at kb1520.com and on John Kane's Native Pride blog at letstalknativepride.blogspot.com. Join the Let's Talk Native with John Kane Facebook group page, where you'll find links, announcements, and a place to offer comments and suggestions. From Buffalo, New York, in the historic homelands of the Seneca, Let's Talk Native rides on the power of KB 1520's Powerhouse Signal up and down the east coast of Turtle Island. Join the discussion on Let's Talk Native with your host, John Kane.
All right, thanks for coming back. This is John Kane. All right, we're scrambling a little bit here in the studio. We're getting we're turning it into a recording studio at this point, and that's no small task since they don't usually do this kind of thing here. But we've got Murray Porter in studio. He's going to perform a little bit for us, but we want to talk to him too. I mean, I know that you spend your life singing, but I know you can't have the gift of voice and not be able to have a good speaking voice as well. And I'll tell you, Murray, you have got that kind of that smoky, smooth, smoky, raspy voice that is just perfect for the genre of music. And again, I want to introduce you and thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really love to come and do these kind of things, especially for our people. The Ongwahawit people, where I come from, all of us come from here, are strong people. And I live away from here on the west coast of Canada, in Vancouver, BC, so I don't get a chance to come as much as I would like back to my roots. And so what I do, it's great to be now. I'll be able to reach all these people at once. Instead of just going to each individual house and seeing my friends and cousins. So that's really great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
This station is a 50,000-watt station. This literally can be heard in Akwesasne from here. So we've got a great reach here. Of course, I also post my shows. We web stream. And I post the shows on my blog. I have a page on the KB site. All my links. Who I now have a brand new member of my on my Facebook group page, and of course I post all the links there. So there's plenty of people that there's people who never listen to my show who are going to listen to it because you're on it. So you're doing me a favor by being here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I just want to say also, Murray, I talked about the messages and the stories in your songs and what an impact that has, and makes people think, makes people understand, but it also gives people a little bit of a release. Your boarding school song, you might want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, also it's nice to do a song and make it humorous, and make it as like a joke. Where like a spoonful of sugar kind of helps a medicine go down. I know a spoonful of you or whatever, but it really does. If you don't stand on a soapbox and try to tell people how to think and what to think, you make a joke about it, and then they go, "Oh, hey, I never thought of it that way."
Well, and if it's funny, it's because it strikes a note.
It's poignant, of course, yeah.
So that's the thing about humor. And I think there's a difference between a comedian and a humorist, but I think you are also not just a blues singer, but you're a humorist in the way you tackle some of these issues by pointing to the absurd. Your white. I did a whole show on enhanced tribal cards, and your white man card is. That's a perfect song.
Well, I understand the song 1492, "Who Found Who." Song about Columbus, and to think that he discovered us when we were already here, and to have other people, non-natives, say, "Oh, wow, I never thought of it that way." That how can you be discovered when you're already there? We weren't lost. We were doing just fine.
Well, and even the song that Sugars talks about, and maybe we can get you to do a bit of that, which is the song that you did after Canada issued their formal apology for the residential schools.
Yeah, the residential school. They took us all away and from our families and cut our hair and they took our clothes away and put on these white clothes for us and tried to teach us basically not to be Native anymore.
Well, kill the Indian, save the man. That was on the American side. That's what they used.
Well, they used to say it was the same, different rhetoric, but the same exact thing there.
Well,
Canada,
you look at the atrocities, and people go back to the atrocities of the Holocaust. They go back to the atrocities of slavery. We're only going back a few decades.
That's what I'm saying.
Some of the schools were only closed in the 80s.
Exactly. What's right in your lifetime, people, and
our mothers, our fathers.
Often people didn't even know. The general public in Canada and the U.S. had no idea what they were doing to us. This is a government program. The only people who knew was the families it was affecting and the government themselves. So they sort of kind of got away with it for the longest time until people started to realize. And even now, people don't really get the whole impact of what happened to us and what it did to our culture by taking us away from our families, taking away our
nobody
language.
will actually talk about the details of it. That's why. I mean, the specifics.
Well, they hush
of what
it up.
really
They have to
happened.
hush it up because they don't want everybody. The government obviously doesn't want anybody to know what happened.
And many of the victims, many of the victims that were in the boarding schools, I have family members that went to the boarding schools, and I overheard them speaking amongst themselves, more probably for the therapy of it, talking about as bad as having their teeth taken out without anesthesia, and students coming in to practice on the kids, yanking teeth and doing dental work, and they were practiced.
It was Joseph Mengele all over again.
Well, TB on the Canadian side in particular, and this was well documented in the newspapers that everybody knew you were supposed to quarantine kids, but specifically on the Canadian side, there was a 50% loss of life just because of tuberculosis. And we take a break at the bottom of the hour, so this is probably a good chance for you to play. Why don't you do that song? We're gonna have you play "Mom" too, but right now, since we're on this thought, if you could, why don't you go ahead and do your the name of the song is
Sorry Enough.
Is Sorry Enough, and that's a perfect name for this because it asks that real basic question: when could it ever be enough?
Really, exactly. Okay, it's called Sorry Enough. I'll do a little bit for you, and here we go. Now you say you're sorry. It's not what you say, it's what you do. Tell us you'll do better, but it's hard to believe in you. The day has finally come. Told the world you were gone. Far too many have passed on now. And it's sorry. Took away our children, stole our mother's love, laid waste to our traditions. Wasn't that enough? Separated from our culture so many years, so alone, with no mothers and no fathers, in a world so far from home. Forced to
and punished when you spoil your native tongue. You're trying to kill our spirits, yeah, but our hearts still beat as one. Took away our children, stole our mother's love, laid waste to our tradition. Wasn't that enough? Oh, yeah, yeah, Yahweh, Yahweh, hey, Yahweh, yeah. I wasn't born to be here. Sin is not my own. It's not my native land. No, no, no. And now the streets are so familiar. This is not what our mothers ran. Took away our children, stole our mother's love, laid waste to our tradition. Sitting there enough. And when will it be enough? Yeah, yeah. When is sorry enough? All right.
All right, that's Murray Porter. This is Let's Talk Native. We'll be right back.
Attention all fierce boys and men. If you're looking for the finest lacrosse gear at the best prices, just make a break for Fierce Lacrosse in Collins. Fierce Lacrosse has the full stock of Nike, Under Armour, STX, Gate, Easton, Reebok, and Harrow lacrosse lines. Are you a fierce box lacrosse player? Fierce Lacrosse has the largest selection of box gear in the U.S. Fierce girls and women looking for a fierce stick will find STX, Deber, Reebok, and Under Armour, all at Fierce Lacrosse at 1979 Lenox Road in Collins. Call 888-304-5211. Join them on Facebook for all the Fierce Lacrosse news. If it's not fierce, it's not lacrosse.
Let's Talk Native with John Kane is the only native radio talk show in Western New York and may actually be the only radio show of its kind anywhere. Shows can be heard live here each Sunday night on KB 1520's Powerhouse 50,000-watt signal and online. A live web stream and archive shows can be accessed at kb1520.com and on John Kane's Native Pride blog at letstalknativepride.blogspot.com. Join the Let's Talk Native with John Kane Facebook group page, where you'll find links, announcements, and a place to offer comments and suggestions.
OJ's Smoke and Gas, the home of smoke and deals, gives you 5 cents off 87 octane every Tuesday, along with tax-free savings every day on gas, propane, and diesel. OJ's has a wide variety of tax-free tobacco products, plus a huge roll-your-own selection with a wide variety of tubes and machines. Check out their smoking accessories from papers to glass, as well as smoke odor candles. OJ's can take special requests, Zippos, premium cigars, and more. OJ's Smoke and Gas, 2111 West Perimeter Road, Steenburg, on the beautiful Allegheny territory of the Seneca Nation. Call 716-354-6435 for OJ's Smoke and Gas.
Let's Talk Native is generously supported and sponsored by Big Dog Wholesale, Ross John Enterprises, Native Wholesale Supply, Neville Spring, the Tonawanda Merchants Association, and the advertisers on this program.
More tires.
All right, thanks for coming back. This is John Kane. You know, we've got this is a fun show to do. I mean, like I said, we talk about some pretty heavy topics here, and it's really nice to just you really have a performer, especially a performer of your caliber. I mean, just the idea, because I mentioned this to Sugar the other day. I says, a lot of times these guys who win awards, they're usually the up and comers. So the guys who are, are really on, on the early part of their uptick. You've been doing this for a while, and for you to win a Juno now, I'm thinking, man, if that is not validation of everything.
Well, it comes with the blues too. If I had a voice like a teenager, I wouldn't be getting no Junos, right? So now my voice has been through the mill. I've been everywhere. I've been all over the place and done a lot of things. But when it comes to the blues, age is not an issue.
Well,
which is one of the reasons I think I stuck in the blues so long, is because you don't get worn out or washed up as you get older. You get better and better, and your voice gets more smoky. You get more. You learn more. You play with all these people, and every time you play with somebody, you pick up something else, right?
And blues really is tied to life experience too.
Exactly, yeah. And so how can you have life experience when you're 17?
Yeah.
How can you? I'm just saying, So the blues, anyway. Other things, other genres, not so much, of course. But yeah, and I love
especially because you write your own music. I mean, it's one thing because I think you can mimic somebody's sound as a blues performer as a teenager.
And a lot of people do. There's people around that do nothing but record old classic blues songs as they're make a new recording of it, and this is the way they do it now. And but for me, that's what somebody else felt. That's what somebody else thought. That's what somebody else comes from somebody else's heart and mind. And how can you be truthful singing someone else's words and somebody else's thoughts? So that's why I started to write the songs, because there was nothing out there that was writing about my white man card, or there was nothing thinking about Columbus being lost. So what? I guess I'll have to do it then. And so that's what I did.
Well, the music is actually our oldest form of communication. Before languages came about, our ocular, our hearing, is tuned for 2 to 5 decibels. So when you're in a crowd, that's why you can't hear somebody talking from across the room. Voice communication is something came after our ears developed. You can hear a bird singing from miles away. You can't hear a person talking from across the room. And in our culture, the way a lot of our communities were built, where the best sound came from, the best sound resonation, is where we would have our socials. And they said you could hear those social songs from 20 miles away. And people would know to come. They would know to come. That's how, when we talk about the birds, I guess I'm going to get in my little cultural stuff here too.
Well, let's
because
do it.
It's also significant to how you came to where you are. The eagle as it sits upon top of the tree of peace. The eagle was chosen because its screech would carry for 40, 50 miles. You can hear an eagle scream in the forest, and that was our warning. That was warning of danger to come, and that's the symbolism of it. But the reality is, music, those tones. That's our original communication.
Rhythm, just rhythm in general.
As far as our people go, especially the Haudenosaunee people, we didn't have no written language, and everything was stories and songs. So blues is all about stories and telling stories, and telling your stories, and the stories of our people for me. And so I find it. I'm lucky to be able to have this vehicle to get our views out there, that somebody else can hear them. That's where you come in, and the internet comes in, and that's where people out there listening, buying CDs and playing it in their vehicle, and that's where that all comes in. So without them, music is it's nothing without other people listening to it.
We're lucky to have you too. I mean,
I really appreciate it too. I really do.
The thing is, when you look at what entertainment, who are the predominant people in entertainment and in radio. I mean, this show is again another example of a real niche for us, because there is nobody else doing this kind of thing anymore. The idea of us having a 2-hour radio show to talk about Native issues, and you know, and not just to bring in guys like yourself, but to really address the issues that your songs address.
Well, you take it deeper than what I do. I just scratch the surface with my lyrics, but you guys can go right deep into the history, so people know exactly what I'm talking about when you guys can explain it all.
But the point of this show is to start a conversation. We don't really try to be the whole conversation. We do take it deep. But, you know, that's exactly what your music does.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody hears a song and you say, man, did you hear the song that he did? And really, some of the you know, like, again, Who Found Who, White Man's Card, a lot of the songs that address the very real issues that we face all the time, I think those, and some of these have been around for a while. I mean, you've done these.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know when you actually recorded some of these, but these go back a while. But, you know, every time somebody hears it again, they said, man, I forgot about that. You know, and they said, you know, and you bring it back to our consciousness.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing, because it's things that shouldn't be forgotten. Especially this residential school and boarding school thing should not be forgotten. It shouldn't be brushed. Say I'm sorry and then brush it under the rug, because we can't brush it under the rug. There's people suffering now. Generations will be suffering from now, but they lost their language. They don't have their language anymore.
And we have to do. And the thing is, because of those things, there's actions, and we talk about this all the time, Ed. What are we going to do now to counteract those decades of that kind of thing? And how are we going to be proactive now to address some of this stuff? And I think that's, you know, by bringing it into the consciousness is so important. And your music does that, and we appreciate that.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well, you know,
Yeah, we're coming into you know.
I'd like to close every segment with another song. That's a perfect way to close one.
I'm all hyped for that. That's good.
I want to real quickly the song we'd like you to sing. Time Will Come.
Okay.
I'd like to just go back to the beginning of the show. We had talked about, you know, the issues of you know, suicides and the you know, the very real things that happen on Native territories, and the you know, the issues we face, and about being strong, and about families coming together, and about, you know, being positive and looking towards the future. And just going to lead you in with that, Mur.
Okay, cool.
Is this off the new CD by chance?
Pardon me,
Is
sir?
this off the new one?
This is an older song, too.
Older song.
I'll get to
Okay.
the new ones, too.
Okay, because I want to make sure we do that as well. So
It's Sorry Enough. The residential school song was definitely from the new album.
Yeah, I that I knew, but I want to make sure we promote you. I mean, you want a Juno, people got to know what it is. So
That's right, brother.
Go ahead.
Okay. Can't you hear the babies crying? Can't you see the parents trying to give that child a better life? He works in an honest day for his honest pay, still can't seem to get ahead. Stay on that straight and narrow path. Don't give up. The Lord can last. The time will come when nice guys don't finish last. When the good don't die young, well, the time will come, the time will come. Say that your heart is cold, it hurt so many times before, but don't turn your back on precious love. There's somebody walking around feeling just like you are now. You can't get go to your front door. Open up your heart and don't get down. What goes around will surely come
yeah. When the good don't die young, oh, the time will come. The time will come. Keep your dream alive. Keep it burning deep inside. Be just who you are. Don't stop reaching for the stars. Oh, 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 yeah. The time will come. Yeah, yeah. When nice guys don't finish last. When a good don't die young. Oh, the time will come. Oh, the time will come. I said the time will come. The time will come.
All right. Thanks, Murray Porter. This is John Kane with Murray Porter, Sugar Montour, and Ed Schindler. This is Let's Talk Native. We'll be right back with more.
Hey! 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 Yeah, we know you're angry. Hey! Angry as a nudist colony volleyball game called on account of bees.
Bees! Ow, 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 ow,
No, no, no!
Oh, no, not there.
Where's my towel?
I got a man!
Oh, the humanity!
Now that's angry. But Heron's Landing understands. For years now, Heron's Landing has used an annoying bird-like sound effect to hawk cheap tobacco products and gasoline on Route 20 in Irving, New York, on the Cattaraugus Indian Reservation.
Hey!
But that's made some people angry enough to want to shoot the bird. Heron's Landing, where cheap is more than a bird call. Thank you.
Size does matter. The Blazing Bear Tobacco Accessory Shop proves it with the largest selection of unique tobacco items and hand-blown glass pieces in Western New York. From glass to wood to metal, they've got all the finest pipes as well as hookahs, tapestries, wild berry incense, sticks, Nag Champa scents, incense, candles, and so much more. Take a peek at the naughty side of the Blazing Bear with great bachelorette party gifts and more. The Blazing Bear Tobacco Accessory Shop in the building formerly known as Pin Racing, behind the Res Smoke Shop on Bloomingdale in the Tonawanda, Seneca territory.
For all the latest fashions at prices you simply can't beat, it's Blazing Bear Fashions on the Tonawanda, Seneca territory. Save on the latest hats, scarves, sunglasses, and great summer sandals. Because let's face it, who doesn't love sun on your toes? Blazing Bear Fashions has great purses, wallets, fragrances, cosmetics, and more. For the men, check out t-shirts, dress shirts, jeans, hoodies, and more. The inventory always changes, but the savings are always great at Blazing Bear Fashions in the building formerly known as Pinned Racing, behind the Res Smoke Shop on Bloomingdale in the Tonawanda, Seneca territory.
Thanks for rejoining Let's Talk Native. We're waiting for your calls at 716-803-1520. Here is the newest voice on the new voice, a new choice, KB 1520. Let's Talk Native host, John Kane.
One night I had a casino dream, and the her voice is in my head.
Okay. All right, this is John Kane. This is Let's Talk Native. This is a different kind of show. This is a show that is just plain fun to listen to. We've got Murray Porter in studio, and and the thing is, as enjoyable as your music is to hear, Murray, that you tackle issues, and in the same way that we do it here on this show, you tackle issues with your music, and it fits in with the blues genre just perfect. So again, it's great to have you in. The 2 songs you've done so far have been great.
Thank you so much, man. I love it.
This is Mother's Day, so you've got a song, and if you want to, kind of set it up a little bit.
Yeah, this song is 20 years old, man. This really is a song that I wrote in the 80s, late 90s. My ex-mother-in-law was passing. She had cancer, like a lot of our people do. And while she was sick, I wrote this song for her, and it's for all mothers, really, mine included, and all the mothers who are listening tonight on Mother's Day. Because without you, none of us would be here. And without the mothers in our culture would die. So thanks to all of you.
I think when we did our last segment on the culture, we had talked about it, the role of mothers, the clan mothers, how at the beginning of the inception, during the conception of the great law, that when we were just bringing that idea together, the very beginning, the role of the women were equal, was absolute equality. And actually, that might have even been not enough. That might have been not enough. The women, the role of the women in our community, in our governmental system, that they cultivate the plants, that they're responsible for 90% of our food sources. The men, we get to go out and have fun hunting and fishing. The women are working,
the children too, while they're doing
cultivating
that as well.
our children, our language. All of the contributions of the women. And the first time we see that as children is in our mothers and in our grandmothers. And now then as we become adults, we get married, we have a wife and our own family and daughters. And I'd like to give my shout out to my wife Tara. Happy Mother's Day. To my mother Verna. She's traveling now, and I know she's listening. And I know everybody made a special request, but I just talked to my mom before we got here, and she says, "Make sure he sings that mother's song."
Well, if your mother said it, I'm doing it right now. Well, the one that you turn to, who do you look for? Your heart's in pain. You cry when you cry. That's when you laugh. It's Mom. God bless her heart. As a young child, she fed me. Changed me, kept me from harm. She stood beside me. I looked up to her. Mom, God bless your heart. Now is the three-letter word means so much to me. Love is the three-letter word. It's Mom, she'll always love me. 16, I thought I was grown up. Thought I could act and do as I pleased. She had the patience, let me find out being grown up is not so easy. some kids that I call my own. I hope I teach them as well as she taught me. Thanks, Mom. God bless your heart. So much to me. Love is a three-letter word. It's Mom, she always loved me. It's Mom, she always loved me. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Hey Murray, one of the one of the things that happens in life, as you got at the end of the song, when you do come to that point where you find the woman you're gonna be with, the woman who's actually has accepted you to be with for the rest of your life, and you have the children, you have another mom. And I'd like you to, if you could, sing the song "Baby You're My Good Thing," my wife and I's wedding song. We've had you sing it many, many times for us at our family functions. And I'd like to, say Happy Mother's Day to my mom of about 8 years now, Danny, and Mama D. Everybody loves you. And when a man and culturally it's happened when you marry, you move in with your wife's family, and that becomes your own family. And Danny made it very clear. She said, when you and Tara get married, you're marrying me and her sister.
So you know.
So you know. So again,
you want to play it right to fade, right to break?
Sure, why not? Let's do it.
All right, so we'll go ahead. Baby, you're my good thing.
Baby, you're my good thing. Classic.
All right.
Man. Somebody once told me, never let a good thing go. 'Cause maybe that's the reason I want you to know. Feel like I'm in love for the first time. Like it never felt before. Baby, you're my good thing, and I'm never gonna let you go. But then I wake up, I want you by my side. If I can be with you, you're still on my mind. I know I sound you like a schoolboy, but it's all because of you. Baby, you're my good thing, and I'm never gonna let you go. Feel like I've known you for a lifetime, but it's not so long ago that I was going through the motion,
got Murray Porter in studio. He played us coming right back on, and he played us going off. Does life get any better than this?
Oh, this is what it's all about.
We need Murray on as the house band. On
When I make it big, Murray's going to play for me all the time.
Is he like Paul Schaefer with the sunglasses,
In-house.
or Doc Severinsen with the crazy outfits, or something?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? Oh man, this is too good. I mean, what a treat it is to have you come in. I mean, we're showing off your Juno Award pretty good too. We're gonna post a bunch of these on my Facebook group page.
I've never been that close to a Juno Award.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's just some classic stuff. And again, I can't emphasize enough. You know, as much as a lot of your music addresses, you know, obviously the affairs of the heart, because you've got to if you're a blues artist, you've got to. But you know, you essentially do with blues what folk music has always done with a lot of social issues.
Sure,
And I think that is so important. I mean, this week Congress has been debating this whole Violence Against Women's Act, and they're trying to reauthorize it in such a way that they can try to shift jurisdiction back to Native territories to prosecute non-natives who commit crimes against Native people. I know that you have a song in particular that really addresses something that is almost. I don't think people can even fathom just how many women turn up missing from Native territories.
You know,
Canada alone. I saw you right now.
Well, and it's every bit as prominent on the American side. It's and nobody. It's hard to get a conversation about this stuff.
What kind of numbers are you talking about? I know
I know,
there was a huge
I know for a
epidemic.
fact 500 murdered and missing women, and the investigation is practically nil because of who they are. Because of some of them are maybe in the sex trade, some of them may be into drugs, into inner city stuff, and some are just kids, and some are just gone, and they don't address it. They really don't address it like they should.
You know, and that's, again, the significance of this award. Songs Lived and Life Played, the new album, Juno album of the year award winner. Songs Lived and Life Played. Look for it in local retail outlets very soon. Murray's going to be doing a lot more promotions in the area. But again, when you got a hard-hitting song with a hard-hitting issue like that, and for the way you've brought it to the mainstream, the way you've brought it to light, again, it's so significant that not only have you been honored with such a mainstream award, but it's the things you talk about, the kind of things that are relevant, the kind of things that most people stay quiet about and hush up, and you say it loud, you scream it at the top of your voice.
Well, a lot of blues songs are there I am at woke up this morning, had the blues by my side, and all this and that, a lot of time. But I always thought there's more to say. There's more things to say. There's more things to talk about. There's more issues. There's more real things to sing about that you could really have the blues about. Like, I got a song called White Man's Card about having to go over the border and prove that you're Indian because with this card. Well, I said, well, where's your white man's card? And after the strip search, I had to write this song. Then I had the blues for sure after that.
That'll give you a case of the blues.
Well, Murray, we're very proud to have you here. We're very fortunate and lucky to have you here. There's a couple of songs I know off your new album. There's the song about the missing women. There's also a song about some of the basic things that most communities don't have to think about. Proper drinking water. Septic systems, infrastructure, basic infrastructure that most communities have no idea because they don't have those same issues we have. And you brought some of these things to light, and we're just going to let you let you do your thing. Let you do your thing.
Well, I'll do a song called Res Blues then. And which is one off the new album, and this is a song they've been playing quite a bit on the blues stadium, shows and all that. So I'm going to do it right now.
And just, if you want to just keep on playing, if you want to go into the other songs, we're just going to let you roll.
Shit, man. I mean, I got to pay for that. I know, man. Okay, here we go, man. Res Blues. work every day for that minimum wage. There's a guy, blonde hair, blue eyes, just about your age. Much money, baby. There's blues. There's blues. Baby, there's blues. Every kind of people got every kind of blues. Red man's got blues. After work, I go home, make myself a drink, grab a glass and a few ice cubes, walk on over to the sink. My old lady says that I ought not to, you'll get sick if you drink that water. Is blues, red blues, red blues, baby. I ain't got those reservation blues. Every kind of people got every kind of blues, but a red man's got. Lost my job, my woman left. She took all of my stuff. She left town with my best friend. If that wasn't enough, she took my dog and my guitar too. And all she left me was a case of the blues, red blues. Red man's got well, big baby, red blues. Well, every kind of blues, but a red man's got red blues. All right, now every blues song is not it's not about sorrow. Sometimes they're just fun, like this next song.
All right, let's hear it.
So when I say this word, I'm talking about a donkey here, people.
Okay.
Just so you know.
All right, this is not something that needs to be cut. Okay.
Talking about a skinny donkey.
Okay, all right.
All right, here we go. It's called Beat on the Bone. Got no meat on her bone. Don't want no skinny little woman. Got no meat on her bone. If you're a woman like that, leave your skinny donkey at home. She's heavy at the hip, and she's easily on the eyes. About her on those tree trunk thighs. I want a woman
woman that can give me shade in the summertime. A woman that can keep me warm on the coldest night. Well, I don't like fried eggs, but I like chicken fried. Don't like no little poached eggs, but I like chicken fried. Just give me 2 big breasts, and I'll have a good time. I don't want no woman, got no meat on her bone. Skinny little woman, got no meat on her bone. You're a woman like that. You're a woman like that. You're a woman like that. Keep your skinny butt at home. Yeah. Nobody wants to see that skinny little thing right there.
That's not generally a problem on the res either. All right, this is John Kane. This is Let's Talk Native. We got a house full here, of course, including Murray Porter. So we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Sandy Beach. Buffalo has long been known as a city of good neighbors, and your friends at Roswell Park Cancer Institute are urging you to lend a hand and come to the aid of Western New Yorkers in need. By donating blood and platelets to Roswell Park Cancer Institute, you're aiding the community, making a real difference in the lives of cancer patients who need your contributions to continue their fight against this terrible disease. You'll find that donating blood and platelets at Roswell Park is easy, convenient, takes very little time, but the rewards are countless. Your effort can help a fellow Western New Yorker get back to their life and their loved ones. Become one of Roswell Park's special blood or platelet donors. Call the Donor Center today at 845-8275. That's 845-8275. Or go online at roswellpark.org/donor center. Your donation today could save a life tomorrow.
Looking for Western New York's best prices on tobacco products and a whole lot more? Then head straight for Mikey's Emporium on Route 20 in Irving. Come check out their custom glass, including chameleon glass, PHX Zong products, and a variety of smoking accessories, detoxification lines, and more. Mikey's Emporium still has the best deals and the widest selection of all your favorite tobacco goods. At Mikey's Emporium, you'll also save money on their huge selection of smoking accessories. Ask about their smokeless line. Starter kits for smokeless lines begin at just $35. They also have a great selection of cigar wraps, rolling papers, and so much more. You'll find everything you're looking for and save a bundle at Mikey's Emporium, just 5 minutes from exit 58 on Route 20 in Irving. Open 7 days a week from 7 till 11. Be sure to like Mikey's Emporium on Facebook to find out about upcoming events. To learn more, call 549-7888 or go online at mikeysemporium.com.
From Buffalo, New York, in the historic homelands of the Seneca, Let's Talk Native rides on the power of KB 1520's powerhouse signal up and down the east coast of Turtle Island. Join the discussion on Let's Talk Native with your host, John Kane.
All right, thanks for coming back. This is John Kane, and this is Let's Talk Native. We're not doing as much talk as we are singing here, or at least one of us are. We got Murray Porter in studio, and I want to make it clear that Murray's Songs Lived and Life Played, which is a 2012 Juno Award-winning album of the year, the album and the songs are available on iTunes, on Amazon, on CD Baby, and you can follow Murray on Facebook and Twitter at Murray Porter 2. That's Murray, Murray, And if anybody doesn't know how to spell Porter, then we've got some issues here. And the number 2. So yeah. So by all means, look for his music. I mean, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of stuff you can find Murray all over the internet. You just got to look for it. But it is really important that you purchase the songs, especially on iTunes and something. There's so many of us that are using the iPads and the iPhones and everything else, and his music is just it is just classic in so many senses of the word that I can't say how good it makes me feel just to be a part of promoting what you do. We've all been listening to you for years, and it's just great that you just keep banging out just really good stuff. I mean, a lot of times you get guys who have a good run, and then they pretty much become their own cover band of their own music, and you just keep banging out the stuff, and it's just amazing.
Or are people churn out album after album without any real substance to it? You know what I'm saying? They just, okay, we got next year coming, we got to have another album out, so they just write out some schlock without any meaning to it, And so I like to take my time and at least have the songs that I'm going to sing on the album mean something. Whether sometimes it's not such a great superior meaning. Sometimes it's just a little thing, but oftentimes it does mean a lot, like the apology song and songs like that. Sometimes you need those songs.
Well, and you really do. I mean, there are topical issues. You address them. You obviously know how to pull on the heartstrings with some of your classic blues style songs. Yeah. The blues. But the reality is some of the way that you address the again, issues that we really take serious here on Let's Talk Native, and if there's one artist that fits in with this program, I don't know if anybody fits into this program as well as you do. So I'm just really pleased to have you here.
Being in this territory with my own people, and understanding where we all come from and what our beliefs are, what our belief system is, and how we were raised and grown up. So it makes it easier for me to fit in, of course, obviously. Yeah.
Sure, I want to thank you again for for helping the family out, the Tuscarora people out at Gill's Smoke Shop on Friday. Also, you performed last night at Jay's Hilltop Bistro. I want to thank Jay for his hospitality and having you in house. Also, we're in discussions now for June 16th. On June 15th, Nick Walenda is going to be walking across Niagara Falls on a tightrope, and I want to wish him a lot of luck in that. I'm working with Nick on a few of the things there with that project. Murray's going to come down, and we're planning on having a performance on the Seneca Territory on the 16th, and we'll bring you the specifics on that in the near future. July 17th, also, Murray's going to be at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. July 17th, the Metro Toronto Convention Center. Also performing that night, Derek Miller, the Healers, which are the Old Mush Singers. Pappy John's band, one of Murray's old bands he started with. They're also going to be the host, Gary Farmer, Santee Smith, Cherry Miracle, and they're hoping to get Graham Greene. It looks like Graham Greene may make the event. Very well-known actor. Also Gary Farmer, some Smoke Signals in many of those movies.
Well, when I first started playing many years ago, at one point Gary Farmer was our agent. Graham Greene was our sound man. And now they're in Hollywood, and here I am. But I'm happy to be here, man, because I've never been into rehab, and I still got all my teeth, and I'm feeling I'm doing good, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's something to be said for that. That's for sure. That's for
sure. We get into some real serious topics here, and a lot of times, we've been involved in John and I and some of the other people in the room. We've been involved in some serious issues, confrontations. We've been involved in standoffs with the FBI, the state police, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the Canadian Army. When we've been in some tense situations, and throughout all that, I remember listening to a communication one time, and we were having a standoff with some police agency, and over the radio they said, I can't believe these Indians. They're all over there just laughing. And one of the native police on the other side, on our side of the line, he gets back on the radio and he said, "You have nothing to worry about. It's when they stop laughing that you have something to worry about." But our native humor, gets us through, gets us through those res blues, and
that's why I use the humor so much in my songs, because that's how we deal with a bad situation. We laugh about it and joke about it, and make it because there's nothing you can do about it really. So why try to laugh about it and and then move on, and we'll find a way to fix it. But humor is about the biggest thing around.
Well, I got you've got a song that's humorous in a way, but I'm gonna talk about another issue. All week long, this past week, they've had this permanent forum at the UN, and the real topic was the Christian discovery doctrine, or the discovery doctrine. And of course, many people associate the discovery doctrine to Christopher Columbus. It actually it really became more formalized about 40 years before 1492. It was in 1452, and it really had to do with Portugal when they were first trying to claim a lot of land in Africa. But the year after Columbus made it to the Isles of Hispaniola in the Caribbean, the Vatican issued another papal bull that essentially gave Spain discovery title, and they really kind of formalized what discovery title meant to the what would now be called the the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. And so this was discussed all week long. I'm not, the reason that I didn't tackle it as much either last week, and I'm glad you're here, so I don't feel like I have to tackle it this week. There's a gentleman by the name of Stephen Newcomb who I think did a great job handling most of that stuff. He gave a presentation for the North American Caucus. If anybody wants to really know more about the discovery doctrine, I would absolutely advise people to check out his work. He's got a couple of books on the subject. I think I have one of his books posted for recommended reading on my blog. He really addresses the issue quite well. He did a 5-minute presentation to the Permanent Forum that I thought was great. But I do have to mention there was one area that I was a little troubled by. I make a strong point, and Ed, we talk about this in your show, about birthright and about where our freedoms come from, where our sovereignty is born from. And I make a strong argument that it is a birthright, and it comes from creation. It does not come from a treaty. It does not come from somebody giving it to us. And one of the things that Stephen said in his presentation, he talked about birthright, and I was glad he did. But he used an expression where he said it was bequeathed to us from our ancestors. And that's not exactly right. I still maintain that our birthright is because of creation. Our ancestors had a responsibility to protect that, as we do, and that's where the whole 7 generations concept comes from. We have an obligation to protect that birthright, but the reality is we have no legal right or ability to sell out our future generations, and if we do so, we can sell out our give away our own stuff. But we can't give away, as wrong as that is, we certainly can't give away the future generations. So,
sovereignty is not something that can be given. In our belief, in the way a birthright is, it cannot be given. So
it's inalienable. It's inseparable. It's naturally bound.
We owe our ancestors and respect all of the things they put in place for us. They loved us enough that we still have these things. Even our ancestors didn't give us our sovereignty. Our sovereignty is a birthright from creation. It's something we live on the land where we were created, and our birthright is born with us, and it comes from creation.
Our ancestors did some great things. And we owe them a lot. Our language, much that about our culture, the ceremonies, all this stuff. There are things that, in our culture, people get confused about what came from creation, what came from our ancestors. Our sovereignty came from creation. And since we talked about the discovery doctrine, and you've got a song that I think hits it pretty nicely, why don't you go with that? We'll go with Who Found Who.
Yeah, okay, cool. Columbus, yeah. White hero. Back in Spain 500 years ago, oh, Chris Columbus lived. Told Isabella that the world was round.
so much, she finally said okay. Said I'll give you 3 ships and some men. Said I'll find a brand new route to India. I'll soon be home again. 1492. Who found who? 1492. Who found who? We welcome all his tired and weary travelers. Then old Chris gave out new names. But this is not India. They are not Indians. To this day it's still the same. 1492. Who found who? 1492. Who found who? History books, they celebrate his great success. Said the Nina Pinta Santa Maria across. Said he was a hero for finding the new world. But how can you find what was not lost? 1492. Found who? 1492. Who found who? Who found who? Who found who? Who found who? Hey, 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 hey.
All right, that's a good one. All right, this is John Kane. We got Murray Porter in studio. We'll be right back.
Looking for bling that's truly unique? Then hit VIP Hustle in the Tonawanda Seneca territory. They have women's fashions, jewelry, shoes, and accessories in styles from boho and hippie to club and urban. VIP Hustle also has men's stainless steel, jewelry, hip-hop fashion jewelry, bling shirts, jeans, hoodies, leather motorcycle jackets, and specialty items like hookahs and Shambhala bracelets. You haven't seen it all till you've checked out the hottest boutique on the res. VIP Hustle on Bloomingdale in the Tonawanda Seneca territory, just 6 miles off exit 48A. Go left on 77, left on Bloomingdale, and look for the 2 authentic teepees.
Let's Talk Native with John Kane is the only native radio talk show in Western New York and may actually be the only radio show of its kind anywhere. Shows can be heard live here each Sunday night on KB 1520's Powerhouse 50,000 watt signal and online. A live web stream and archive shows can be accessed at kb1520.com and on John Kane's Native Pride blog at letstalknativepride.blogspot.com. Join the Let's Talk Native with John Kane Facebook group page, where you'll find links, announcements, and a place to offer comments and suggestions.
Hey! 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 Yeah, we know you're angry. Hey! Angry as a nudist colony volleyball game called on account of bees.
Bees! Ow, 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 ow!
No, no, no!
Oh, no, not there.
Where's my towel?
I got a mark!
Oh, the humanity!
Now that's angry, but Heron's Landing understands. For years now, Heron's Landing has used an annoying bird-like sound effect to hawk cheap tobacco products and gasoline on Route 20 in Irving, New York, on the Cattaraugus Indian Reservation.
Hey!
But that's made some people angry enough to want to shoot the bird. Heron's Landing, where cheap is more than a bird call.
Hey!
Thank you.
Let's Talk Native is generously supported and sponsored by Big Dog Wholesale, Ross John Enterprises, Native Wholesale Supply, Neville Spring, the Tonawanda Merchants Association, and the advertisers on this program.
All right, this is John Kane, and this is Let's Talk Native. All right, we're getting so carried away just enjoying Murray in the studio that we forgot we were going to give some CDs away. But here's the thing: I don't want to. As much as I really want people to call in and participate in the show, here's what I'd like. I'd like to give away some CDs. Anybody wants to call in and wish their mother a happy Mother's Day, and we'll keep it short, we'll keep it sweet. You want to call in and wish your mother a happy Mother's Day on air, then by all means do so. And I'll get Matt to take your information, and we'll put a CD in the mail for you. So again, anybody listening who wants to give their mother a happy Mother's Day, a happy Mother's Day wish, by all means, this is a chance to do it and be rewarded for it, not only from your mother, but from us. So by all means, feel free to give a call in. What do you think, Sugar?
I'm sure we'll have an opportunity there for Murray to personalize the CD. Also, again, we're going to need the calls to come in. Within the next little bit here. I think when you see the impact that somebody like Murray has, the talent that we have in our territories, the diversity of talent. A lot of our communities now on the Six Nations territory. Kenny Hill has a music studio, Jukasa, and that has. That's having a big impact. So I just, again, it's that diversity of our economics also that brings somebody like Murray here.
All right, I'm going to go to the phone lines. I've got Ken from Lackawanna. Ken, do you have a mother?
I sure do, John. And I'd like to wish her, although she's probably sleeping now, I'd like to wish her a happy Mother's Day. She's a fantastic lady, a superhuman being, and a great person. She put up a lot with me over the years, and I came through okay, and I have to put a large part of that to the fact that she was always there for me. And, Mom, I love you. You're sleeping. Happy Mother's Day, and God bless you.
Well, and here's what you can do. You can also have her listen to the program in replay on either on my KB site, or you can come to my blog, Native Pride, and that way she can hear it. If she misses it, she can hear it. So I'm gonna put you on hold and have Matt take your information. If for whatever reason I lose you, call back.
Good thing, John. Thanks.
All right, I've also got Rich on the line. So, Rich, how about you and your mother?
Yes, I will. But first, I wanted to ask you who was that black fellow from the South that was doing those Indian songs, that theme song? It's a joke.
Oh, no, he's a red man singing black man's blues in a white man's world. Come on, we gotta get it right now.
I understand. No, I want to. Well, we'll have to have her replay it. But Mickey Tizkowski, I'll give her last name. She owned the North Collins Hotel, adjacent to the Cattaraugus territory for many years.
We know her very well, and she was really good for our people.
Sugar's been there.
Yeah.
Sugar threw parties there. We had good times and bad. We've seen it all, and wouldn't.
Well, we know Sugar, so we've seen them all too.
Yeah. A lot came through the door and went out.
All right. Hey, Rich, I'm going to put you on hold, and I'm going to pass you over to Matt as well, and he'll take your information, and we'll get this out to you.
I did this for many years. I wanted to wish her Happy Mother's Day.
Well, and I'm glad you called in. I should appreciate it, and we'll get a CD out to you. And again, I appreciate you calling anyway. You're kind of a familiar voice, so
yeah.
So it's good to have you.
All right, nice to talk to you.
All right.
Take care.
All right, that's good. We got a couple of calls ready to roll. I think looks like we got another one coming in here too. So, but this is it. This is the kind of thing that I really would love this show to do a little bit more of. I know we can get pretty heavy on the topics and that kind of thing, but to have somebody like Murray come in, and like you said, I think it's important people that know that this kind of talent exists. And Murray's not a newcomer by any means, but there's really good talent. And these guys make the rounds, and it's sometimes it's hard to get these guys to come back because once they start having some success, especially in Western Canada, there's a lot of venues. I know Murray performs a lot out there, and he lives out in that area, so it's a little bit more difficult to get him back sometimes.
Well, and again, it's the diversity, though. When you look at the the impact this show has had has been tremendous because there's like Sandy says, it's the only show in the area. They're the only thing around that has a native flair to it. We got a caller wait, but I did want to say that this shows the diversity. That the only time that you hear about native issues is when there's a blockade, there's a tax issue, there's stress, there's Grisanti's having trouble at the casino. I mean, that's the only time you hear about a native issue. And here we have such a diversity in our communities, and I think that's what we're trying to bring out here.
Well, and that's just it. I think people need to know us, from both the side where not just from the arts, when it comes to some of the artisanship, when it comes to hand art and that kind of thing, but this performing arts thing, and this is something that I feel strong about. That's why I've talked about the 1492s or the 1491s, I mean, and I would really like to see this, and I know we're working on a project together that may bring a little bit more of an opportunity to have some more performing arts in Western New York as well. Hey, I got another caller, so let me go to Brandon in Buffalo. Brandon, what's up?
Hi, this is I just want to wish my mother a happy
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
All right. Sorry, I know I went to you pretty quick, so I'm glad you're calling in. And you want any other quick message you want to send to your mom? Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go ahead and we'll.
I think we're having trouble with the phone.
All right. You know what? Hopefully we can get your information. We did get you on. It was Brandon from Buffalo, and we'll get your information and we'll get a CD out to you.
Murray, you got any wishes you'd like to send out there? I know you've
I know my
10 grandchildren.
I got 10 grandchildren. That's right, and my sons. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers as well. And my own mother, who's still alive and kicking, and still one of my best friends and one of my greatest teachers of all time. And actually, to all the mothers, Happy Mother's Day. Really, we really appreciate it. We really do.
Well, I gotta give a specific mention to my wife Brenda. She was gonna try to make it in today, but we had a really busy day because we had. I've got 2 granddaughters that are born on the same day, so we had a full day of a birthday party for one of them. We're going to do the other one next week. We kind of split up the birthday party so they don't feel shortchanged. So my granddaughter Raelle celebrated her 3rd birthday today. So my wife kind of got wore out from all that. But I want to wish Brenda. I want to wish my wife Brenda a happy Mother's Day as well. And again, we've had the privilege of not only raising 3 children, but 2 of those children are mothers, and of course my son and his wife. They're expecting their 2nd child. So
happy to future mothers.
Yeah.
Well.
So I mean, to my daughter-in-law Stephanie, I also want to wish you a happy Mother's Day, and I know that you'll be next year. You'll be double the mother you are right now. So again, I want to send out my specific wishes as well. You want to close the segment with another one, or you want to give it a rest to the end?
I'll do one at the end. You guys.
Okay, I know we kind of hit you with those who found who's. Those who's were.
I was telling these guys off the air that I should have brought in an owl to do the who's for me today because I'm a little worn out. But
I hear you. Well, I think we got one more call coming in, so we'll give one more shot during this segment for a caller. But go ahead, Sugar.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Murray gives it his all. I've seen him perform for the last few days now, and when you go see Murray, you get a whole show. You get somebody who feels passionate about what he does, loves what he does, and sometimes I know Elaine probably has to drag him off a stage. Last night we had a wonderful time. We went to a few different venues, and everywhere he went, people were so happy to see Murray. Ran into his old bandmates and jumped up on stage, and you probably got about 7 hours of singing in last night.
Yeah, well, it's good. I don't mind it at all. I always love to play. I love to play. I'd rather be playing music than talking to anybody seriously in my life. I just love it that much. This is my life. This is what I do, right? Not just my bread and butter. It's my heart and soul.
No, and nobody does it better. Nobody does. Look, we got another. I think we've got another Mother's Day wish. Steve, you got a mom?
I got a mom. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Mine put up with me all the years. And I just wanted to say, fellas, I just found your show tonight for the first time.
And it's always this good. Every week is just as good as this one.
Tell all your friends. Make sure you pass it along. Put it on your Facebook. Let everybody know.
Well, I wanted to say that I've always had a soft spot in my heart for natives. I'm a Polish American. I had grandparents that came over on the boat that were persecuted. It's not a perfect country, but I spent a lot of time on a Cattaraugus reservation. I have good friends that are Native Americans, and always been endeared to your culture, and have a soft spot. And I wanted to say to Murray that I just really enjoyed the music, and I'd like to know more information where I could maybe purchase a CD, because
you can go to iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby. You can follow him on Facebook, Twitter, at Murray Porter and the number 2. But you can find his, if you just search his name, you can find his stuff. But look for his CD, and you can download this stuff electronically. I mean, his stuff is out there. I got 2 comments I got to make to you. First off, he goes, my father, like many fathers, like Sugar's father, was a high steel worker, and in the area that my father was a high steel worker, there were a lot of Polish guys that worked high steel with all the Mohawks. And when I was a kid growing up, I thought there were only 2 kind of people. I thought there were Mohawks and Polacks. I thought the word Polak meant that you weren't Mohawk. And that's a true story. I got to tell you that. I mean, you guys have a soft spot in my heart as well. And on your other comment, you said this country's not perfect. We had it perfect, and we're trying to get it perfect again. So if you stick with us, and maybe we can help correct some things.
Hey, Steve, that's a perfect example though. When we talk about a lot of serious Native issues on this show, and some of the things that the Seneca people go through and our conflicts with the state. Our friends and neighbors are our best friends. The support we get from, I see you're from Eden area, the support we get from our surrounding communities. In our agreements and in our friendship agreements, we always say our friends and allies, and our neighbors in Western New York have been fantastic friends of ours, and I'm glad that you found the show.
Yeah, I have a couple friends that actually own cottages on the Indian reservation in Cattaraugus, and they have wonderful rapport, and it's just been great. But your colleague was telling me about. I was union laborer for many years and worked hand in hand with the iron workers, and those guys. I thought they thought I was crazy. I thought they were crazy because we had some reckless jobs. I'll tell you that.
Well, you can't do that work and be faint of heart. So, Steve, I appreciate you calling. I'm going to put you on hold and switch you over to Matt so he can take your information, and we'll get a CD out to you. But listen to the show each week and feel free to call in again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm going to put you on hold, and then we're going to go to break. This is John Kane. This is Let's Talk Native. We've got Murray Porter in studio. We got Sugar Montour, and we got Ed Schindler. We got a whole crew here. So stick with us for the last segment, and we won't disappoint you. We'll be right back.
OJ's Smokin' Gas, the home of smokin' deals, gives you 5 cents off 87 octane every Tuesday, along with tax-free savings every day on gas, propane, and diesel. OJ's has a wide variety of tax-free tobacco products, plus a huge roll-your-own selection with a wide variety of tubes and machines. Check out their smoking accessories from papers to glass, as well as smoke odor candles. OJ's can take special requests, Zippos, premium cigars, and more. OJ's Smokin' Gas, 2111 West Perimeter Road, Steenburg, on the beautiful Allegheny territory of the Seneca Nation. Call 716-354-6435 for OJ's Smokin' Gas.
When it comes to your favorite tobacco products and accessories, your full-service outlet is the Sacagawea Indian Market on the Tonawanda Seneca territory. From filtered little cigars and snuff to blunt wraps and roll-your-own products, they have it all, or they'll get it for you. Sacagawea even has the latest in e-cigarette and no-smoke accessories. The prices are low, but the selection and the service are top of the line at Sacagawea Indian Market on Bloomingdale in the Tonawanda Seneca territory. Just 6 miles off 48A, left on Bloomingdale, and look for the 2 authentic teepees. Anyone under 26 will be ID'd for tobacco purchases. You don't need to go far to get away. A great escape awaits you nearby on the beautiful Allegheny territory of the Seneca Nation at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Salamanca, New York. There's lots to do while you stay. You can take a trip to the Amish Trail. You can head to the casino on one of the shuttles that runs 24/7. You can relax and unwind in the whirlpool or take a swim in the indoor pool or grab your Gal Pals for Gal Pals Weekend at the Holiday Inn Express, where you'll spend a fun-filled evening at the Seneca Allegheny Casino, then shuttle your way back, have some margaritas, and laugh the night away. See what the beautiful Allegheny territory of the Seneca Nation has to offer, all for great rates and tax exempt. So remember, you don't need to go far to get away. Stay and play at the Holiday Inn and Suites in Salamanca, New York on the Allegheny territory of the Seneca Nation. For more information or room availability, call 716-945-7600. That's 716-945-7600.
Thanks for rejoining Let's Talk Native. We're waiting for your calls at 716-803-1520. Here is the newest voice on the new voice, a new choice, KB 1520. Let's Talk Native host, John Kane.
All right, this is John Kane. This is Let's Talk Native. We got a full house, like I said. We've got Murray Porter in studio, and we were just during the break here. We were talking a little bit about you getting nominated, and then of course winning the Juno. I'd like to hear a little bit about that story. So exactly when did the nomination come?
Well, in February, I found out that I was nominated. Right, early February, and they sent me well, they had a TV. Computer online announcement. Right?
Okay.
And so there I'm up at 7 in the morning, rubbing my eyes, and here's the announcement of the Native category, who's the Juno nominees, right? So I said, okay, I'm gonna get up and watch it, right? Even though I don't know if I'm gonna, be nominated, but there's 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not there yet.
Oh, so they gave the top 4 and you
I was the 5th one, man. And so it was like a little bit. And then when it came, I was just like dancing around the house, jumping up and down,
I mean, it's kind of like getting nominated is just kind of a real treat in and of itself. So just getting the nomination is kind of like
one of the best 5.
Yeah, I mean
recordings in the whole country for that particular year is that's an accomplishment in itself. And to actually go there a month later, or 2 months later almost, it was in March 31st in Ottawa, Ontario, when they had the awards.
How many albums have you produced so far?
Oh, I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4 albums, I guess. And I've been nominated. It's my second nomination. I got nominated with the Pappy Johns in 2005.
Oh,
6.
okay.
6, I guess. And
that's a good batting average out of 4 albums. You already got an album of the year.
And so it was just a wonderful time to be. By years and years of playing, hitting the bars and dives and bar mitzvahs and hangings and wherever there was a gig, man, I was there. So to actually win the award, man, was really a gratifying, amazing moment.
A lot of children are into the music and into have these dreams. Everybody has a dream, right? As you're a child, my children, they love to sing. They play the piano. You signed the one for them a few years ago, and we had you for the New Year's. How did you get your start? Where did it come from? And I know rhythm is in you. I was watching my little boy the other day, and when he saw you tapping your foot. Boy, he's 3 years old, and Cassius was just going right along like it was.
He was right in there with me. What happened was I loved music as a kid. And my sister got a piano to take lessons on, and she didn't really like it that much, and she went because she had to go, and then she would try to play, and I over and over.
Some of people have fat finger syndrome too, so it's a little tough,
But then I'm listening to her, and I'm going, that's not right. It goes like this. And I told her, and I went, like, when she left, I would go, and I'd go in there, and I would play that song that she was playing, but the right way. But I can't read notes. I don't know. I know how to read notes at all. I taught myself.
I think your sister's going to be sending you an email about this conversation.
She sends me emails every other day about this conversation. I use this in every interview. So she doesn't hear them all, thank God. But she gets me back in other ways, don't worry.
Well, one of the songs that I want to make sure that we close with, though, is going to be the song you did about missing women. So let's kind of get back to that subject a little bit before we because I want to make sure that we get the song. Again, there are certain issues, certain topics that we talk about on this show. Violence against women is one of those things that I am particularly concerned about and committed to addressing.
Me and you both, man. Honestly, I am totally.
And the thing is that we know that part of the problem is born out of some of the racism that still is so prevalent in the U.S. and Canada, because that's the only possible explanation for the lack of investigation that goes into these missing women or these abused women and that kind of thing. And the fact that they're trying to change a federal law. They're never really that fond of throwing their own people into our jurisdiction, but the reality is the only reason that this even has to be done is because of their failure on the U.S. side to prosecute non-Native people who commit these crimes. And the violence against women issues, by some estimates in the United States, 70 to 80% of the violence or these acts that are reported are by non-Native people who live on the reservation who commit these acts. Now, I'm not saying that our guys, we have our own problems amongst our own people.
Nobody's
but again, when you consider that 70, 80% of these of the people who are committing these acts are non-Native, and then they become untouchable because the non-Native authorities don't want to do anything about it, and then and we can't be they don't want to accept our jurisdiction over those kinds of crimes committed by them. So some of this stuff is clearly born out of race issues, and I think certainly women and girls that turn up missing that nobody wants to talk about, and nobody. I mean, if it weren't for the Native people really calling out the numbers on these things, and I've heard those same numbers that you talked about, 500,
over 500,
and that's in Canada alone. That's not even counting on the U.S. side.
No, we have a fraction of your population, so just imagine what the numbers may. If everybody even calculates those numbers, gather those numbers, are they correct? So we don't even know. It could be much higher.
And I'm talking like some real horrific things. We've heard about, any violence against women is horrific. But I'm talking, the one was a pig farmer. They said they were having a hard time prosecuting him, and whether there was a lack of the desire to prosecute him, they couldn't find the bodies, and they discovered he was grinding them up and putting them into the feed, into feeding his pigs, and it was an ongoing investigation for so long. We still don't know the names and the faces of all of the people, all those young women who were lost to just this one madman, and again, the legal system didn't know how to handle the situation.
This is today.
Yeah,
this is
just 100 years ago.
This
This
is
is now.
60s. This is right.
This is in the news every day.
All right, so let's get right to it because we're coming down on, we're winding down. It's hard to believe it's been 2 hours already, and I say that every week. When it was 1 hour, I don't know how we did it. Now I'm still not sure how we fit all this into 2 hours. So you're not going to hear our voices again here because we're going to go probably right to the end here with Murray Porter. We're going to finish this thing up. So this has been John Kane and Let's Talk Native with Ed Schindler, with Sugar Montour. You got any closing, real quick send-off, Ed?
Just want to say Nyewe for Murray.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
absolutely.
Once again, songs lived and life played. Couldn't be a better title for Mr. Murray Porter. I want to thank you. I want to thank Elaine. You've traveled a long way from Vancouver to be here, and we're looking forward to having you again in our communities. And
I want to say a special Nyawe to Nate John for bringing over his keyboard and for driving Mr. Daisy around all week. Awesome.
All right, we're gonna go right to the end with Murray. So go ahead.
This song's called "Ever Since She Went Away." This is to the murdered and missing women of our territory of this Turtle Island. Did you ever cry out in the pouring rain? Did you ever feel like you're going insane?
Bakersfield. Your life slipping away. Oh, then you feel like me. Ever since she went away. Did you ever see a world that's cloudy and gray? Oh, then you feel like me. Ever since she went away. Lie awake at night, praying for daylight. Seems like daylight never comes. And in the morning light, things still ain't right. All you can do is think of why she ain't here tonight. Did you ever hurt like a knife right through your heart? Did you ever reach out for her in the dark? Did you ever think?
Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Native. Join John Kane each week here on KB 1520. A new voice, a new choice. Go to the Let's Talk Native with John Kane Facebook group and offer comments and suggestions on issues discussed or those you'd like to have addressed. John will be back next Sunday night at 9.